Welcome on board the beautiful Carnival Panorama. In this video today, I am going to give you a full ship tour of this remarkable cruise ship which launched to the market back in 2019. Now this ship is a Vista class cruise ship, which means that she shares her name with other ships of the same class in the Carnival fleet. For example, Carnival Vista, Carnival Horizon and Carnival Venezia. However, Carnival Panorama is just slightly larger than those other ships. I have never seen a cruise ship with so much variety on board. The top deck on this ship was absolutely amazing. Wait until I show you it. In today's video, we are going to go from the bottom and work our way all the way up to the top. If you enjoy this video and if you do find it useful, it would be amazing if you would give it a thumbs up down below, because that just helps me to reach more people with my content. And while you're down there, why not join me on my adventures? All you have to do is click subscribe. Anyway, let's get started down on deck number 2 of Carnival Panorama. We are starting the tour today down at the family harbour area of the ship. This is a private lounge which is accessed by any guests who are staying in family harbour staterooms. That means that you book a family room or a family suite and you get access to this lounge where you get snacks during the day and various activities as well. Now moving up a deck, this is deck number 3 and we are now in what is truly the heart of this stunning cruise ship. Welcome to the Panorama Atrium. This is the 3-storey atrium which spreads across decks 3, 4 and 5. This huge LED screen which came up from inside the bar in the middle of the room, changed all through the day and all through the night, so you may see throughout this video that it looks pretty different. On one side of that atrium, you're going to find guest services. Over here, you'll find a number of desks, including one available on the left-hand side for anybody that purchases the Faster to the Fun programme, or anyone that currently sits at the top tier of the Carnival Cruise Line loyalty ladder. Across the other side of the atrium, you'll find the Fun Hub. This is a place where you can access these computers to get online. Please note that you will require an internet package, so this is not free internet. And directly beside Fun Hub, you will find Carnival Adventures. If you're interested in heading off the ship and going on an official cruise line excursion, then this is exactly where you'll book all of those adventures. Coming just off the atrium on the other side is the Horizon Restaurant. This is one of the main dining room venues on board, and we'll cover all of the dining venues as part of this video. You can see, unfortunately, I had to get in to take this footage while the restaurant was closed. This was a particularly busy ship, which meant that as soon as the dining room would open for a meal service, it was very, very busy. So it was impossible for me to get in and film these venues set up for dinner. On board Carnival Panorama, you will find 2 main dining rooms. The first one we were in just a second ago. The second one is here. Welcome to the Vista Restaurant. This is the much more grand dining venue, and this spans across decks 3 and deck number 4. In terms of how dining works on these cruise ships, at the point of my cruise, there were no assigned dining slots, but when you were hungry and when you were ready for dinner, you would access the Carnival app, or you would phone the relevant department and you would book a table digitally. It was very, very impressive, and the technology worked really, really well. That meant that you could sometimes be dining downstairs, you could sometimes dine upstairs, or you could find yourself along in the other restaurant. Coming away from dining and heading all the way back to the front of the ship, welcome to the Liquid Lounge. This venue is across decks 4 and deck number 5, and this is Carnival Panorama's slight adaptation to a modern day cruise ship theatre. I've been on quite a lot of ships recently where this concept hasn't worked at all, but the way that Carnival are doing their entertainment in here is fantastic. If you'd like to see more, head over to my vlog series from this ship and I will show you the shows firsthand. Coming out of the Liquid Lounge, remaining on deck number 4, we're back in the main atrium. We'll be in here quite a few times on this cruise, and we're now on the middle level. This is where you'll find our first glimpse of some of the onboard shops. In here you'll find various shops, whether that be Carnival merchandise, whether that be toiletries, and then we'll head along and we'll look at the different shops later on in this video. Moving further towards the back of the ship, you're going to find up next the Carnival Panorama Casino. This casino has got a huge array of table games, an absolutely enormous range of slot machines. I think this is potentially the casino I've seen at sea with the most variety of slot machines. Carnival casinos generally, I find, are very, very well supported and very well attended, and this one was no different. Directly next door to the casino, you're going to find the Heroes Tribute Bar. This is, as the name suggests, a bar that Carnival have dedicated to military service personnel. It's a really, really lovely touch. Everybody is welcome here, but the main touching point is that they sell souvenir glasses in here, and for every glass that a passenger takes home, Carnival at the point of my cruise would donate $1 to Operation Homefront, which is a US military charity. In this venue you can expect to watch sports. You can also complete sports betting in here on games that are happening on land. It's a really different venue. I haven't seen this on a ship before. Big fan, and it was very, very well supported during my cruise. Next up, coming directly off of the Heroes Tribute Bar, is the Art Gallery. You can see here that the art gallery on board this ship isn't really a venue in itself, it's more of a corridor where they display art, and that corridor leads you to the Limelight Lounge. This is one of the more versatile venues on board, and it will change to many different types of venue during your cruise. For example, you will find the onboard comedy club in here each evening. You'll also find that this venue turns into the onboard nightclub as the evening progresses. So whatever you're looking for from your day at sea, you'll probably find it in the Limelight Lounge. That covers deck number 4. Let's head up one more deck to deck number 5. This is the Havana Pool and the Havana Outdoor Deck Space, and this is an exclusive deck reserved only for those people who have Havana privileges applied to their accounts. Now what does that mean? That means that any guests choosing to stay in a Havana level stateroom would have full access to this pool, those hot tubs, and everything else out here. I didn't have those rights on my account, but I was able to get out to capture some videos and to capture some photos to share with you what this space looks like, but I'm sure you'll agree it's beautiful. Now, the part of the Havana venue that is open and accessible to all guests of Carnival Panorama is the Havana Bar. This venue absolutely gives you a feel of what it would be like to walk through the streets of Cuba and what it would be like to, enjoy some local music to that area. The bands in here are usually so lively, they play all night long, and this venue is one of the busiest that I found on my entire cruise. If you want to come in here and try some salsa dancing, then you will be right at home. You can do that before dinner, you can do that after dinner, you can do that well into the night. Havana staterooms are positioned very conveniently around this venue so that you can then have easy access to the outdoor deck space. Coming out of the Havana Lounge and heading towards the front of the ship, this is the first venue we'll find, which is Ocean Plaza. As part of this, you'll also have the Plaza Bar, and this is a bar and dance floor section of the ship. I did find it particularly refreshing to see the number of dance floors on this ship that there were. I hear a lot of people criticising modern ships because they can't dance on them, and that certainly isn't the case here. Right next door you have the Java Blue Cafe for all your coffee and cake needs all during the day, and directly next door to that is Dreams Studio. So why not on formal night, pop down here, get your photos taken and see how they turn out. The next venue, heading slightly further forward, is the Guy's Pig and Anchor Smokehouse and Brewhouse. This venue is pretty unique to what I've seen on other cruise ships. I was a really big fan of this. I love really casual, really informal venues, and that's exactly what this offers all of the passengers on board Panorama. You can see in that last shot they have huge casks and huge distilling chambers. That is because they actually are making their own beer here. You can spend a day at sea going on a brewery tour. You can also come in here and sample the delights of the Pig and Anchor Smokehouse every night at dinner, or you can eat at this outside area on all of your days at sea. Not too many people know that it's open on a sea day though, and it is so much quieter than going to the buffet. So make a note of that and come down here on your day at sea. Heading back inside, the next venue is Pixel's Gallery. This is where you can purchase any of the photos that have been taken of you during the cruise. You can search through the digital devices on the right and also on the left all the way along the window. And continuing our journey to the front of the ship, this is the Alchemy Bar. Now this bar I found functioned really well as a cocktail bar and a gin bar, and every single day they would have a different speciality cocktail available. So what better way to relax pre-dinner than down at the Alchemy Bar? Just across the hall, you're going to find Bonsai Sushi and Teppanyaki. This venue is exactly as it says on the tin. The venue we're looking at right now is the Sushi Bar, which you've got directly in front of you, and then you've got lots more seating as we pan the camera around to the right hand side, and I'll take you in and show you shortly the Teppanyaki part of this restaurant. One of the things that I particularly enjoyed about my time on Carnival Panorama was the ability to dine outdoors. It was very warm, but on the cooler nights it was lovely to come and sit out here, have a small bit of sushi or even just a nice glass of wine from that restaurant and soak up the ocean air. Now this is the Teppanyaki part of the restaurant. You'll find this in a closed off, very much separate part of the restaurant, and it's very intimate. There's only 2 cooking stations here. My advice to you, if you're interested in teppanyaki, get booked in there as early as you can because it's busy. Now directly across the hall again, you're going to find the Farenheit Steakhouse. This was one of the more popular dining venues during my cruise. I did dine in here one night and found it to be absolutely excellent. But in this video, I'm not going to be talking to you about the food. You'll have to come back and watch my dining guide if you'd like to know more about that. But really beautiful venue. And next door to Farenheit is the Piano Bar. Piano bars on cruise ships, I never used to like them, but now I am totally sold. This is such a cool venue. Look at all these tables that are going round the piano itself. You've got such a wide array of seating in here, whether you want to be lounging on a sofa, a booth, or an individual chair, or maybe sit at the bar. But always remember, pick up one of these little bits of paper and make sure you request your favourite song. Now you might be thinking, okay, this ship looks busy, it looks loud, and I don't like that. Well, you'll be delighted to know there are quiet spaces on board Carnival Panorama too. This is one of them, which is the onboard library. I loved coming in here with my laptop to do a little bit of work, and also coming in here with a coffee that I would get from down in the atrium to relax and read my book. It's a really lovely space, and it's also usually really quiet. Anytime I used this library, it was either me on my own relaxing in there, or just 2 or 3 other people. It was never ever busy in here. So there's a top tip. Now continuing towards the front of the ship, we are back in the main atrium and we're now up on deck number 5. You can see as we pan round here, you've got an array of shops that line the atrium. This one was one that I wanted to bring you in and show you specifically because I know that quite a lot of you follow the channel and you cruise with children. And for that reason, I thought you'd find this shop relatively interesting because everything would be a nightmare trying to get children not to want to buy it. My advice to you is if you are cruising with children, why not take a walk around the shops on your own first before you take the kids in? Otherwise, you might end up spending an absolute fortune. Now, on this deck, I just love people watching, so standing there with a beer and looking down at everyone was excellent. And this is something that isn't actually on your ship maps. This cabinet, which is right at the front of deck 5, outside the entrance to the Liquid Lounge, displays all of the ship plaques of where the ship's called, and it also has the top of the champagne bottle that was smashed on the side of Carnival Panorama on launch day. It's really, really interesting. Make sure you head up and have a look at that. Now, here is deck number 5, which is the Promenade deck. This space was absolutely glorious, and it was a real asset to this ship. Look at how quiet it was on a day at sea. The top deck, while I would have filmed this, would have been very, very busy, but down here, it was bliss. I absolutely loved spending a little bit of time down here, relaxing without the busyness of the top deck. Going up one more deck, welcome to the Warehouse Video Arcade. This is, as the name suggests, the onboard gaming arcade. You'll find this pretty busy with children for the majority of the day. You can charge all of these games to your cabin account, so don't worry about having to bring cash on with you. It's all cashless and really, really easy to charge. This floor is also where you'll find Circle C and Club O2. This is two of the children's venues on board the ship. These were both unavailable for filming, but you can see here that Club O2 is suitable for ages 15 to 17, and I'll show you what we could see through the door. And then we'll head over and look at Circle C, which is open to children between 12 and 14. It is worth saying that these venues were completely closed at the point of filming, so there was no risk of including children in the video. Now, across various decks on Carnival Panorama, you will find guest laundry rooms. I always find these to be such a plus point when cruising, especially if I'm cruising back to back on multiple ships. It's amazing to leave a cruise ship with all of your laundry done. It's worth adding that this is not free of charge, so you can purchase all of your detergent, you can pay for your washers. Always remember, a washer is 33 minutes, a dryer is 72 minutes. Don't annoy your fellow passengers by forgetting to go back and collect your laundry. Now, we won't cover the other decks on the way up to deck 10 because they only feature passenger cabins. If you'd like to see my cabin, then head over to my channel and you can see my tour of my outside cabin. Which means that we are straight up to deck number 10, and this is the beach pool, which is the main pool deck on board Carnival Panorama. I found that the pool here was actually a decent size. I would never recommend swimming during the height of the day because it was very, very busy and there were a lot of children. But going for late afternoon swims up here, you'd usually find it pretty quiet. In terms of poolside eateries, you have two at this pool. First up is Guy's Burger Joint, which is absolutely excellent. The burgers in here were some of the best burgers I've ever had on a cruise ship. They were brilliant. And directly opposite, you'll find the Blue Iguana Cantina, which is the onboard Mexican poolside eatery. This is particularly great because at the moment, this cruise ship is primarily servicing the Mexican Riviera. So what better place to grab a taco or grab a burrito than the poolside while watching sailing out of whatever beautiful port you've been in that day. You'll also find two poolside bars. First up, you've got this Tequila bar, and on the other side, you've got the rum bar. I never found these bars to be overly busy, so don't worry about queuing a long time to get a drink. And then heading towards the back of the ship, this is the Lido Marketplace. This is Carnival Panorama's version of the on-board buffet, and I found this to be one of the busiest venues on the entire ship. It is worth noting that on embarkation day, on the sea days, the pressure on this venue is going to be immense. So always remember there are other options available to you, which mean that you don't have to always dine at the buffet. But I do appreciate if you're cruising with children, that maybe is your primary option. I did really enjoy the design of this buffet. I thought it felt slightly more dated than a ship that launched in 2019. However, a really, really comfortable space, and look at those views. You just cannot complain. Now, there was this LED lit staircase that led up to two other venues. This does go directly from the Lido Marketplace, but we'll come back and I'll show you up there after I take you outside and show you the back of this deck. So remaining on deck 10, this is the Tides pool, which you're going to find all the way at the very, very back of the ship. You can see a lot going on up on those top decks. Don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening up there. In terms of poolside details here, you have two. One is an additional paid-for restaurant, which is a seafood shack where you can get clam chowder, you can get lobster rolls, you can get shrimp. The selection here was pretty large. And the other is an included dining option which you don't pay for, which is the Pizzeria Del Capitano. The pizzas here were so fresh, and this was open well into the night, so don't worry about going hungry. My favourite thing about this pool though, look at that view. Absolutely beautiful. You'll remember from earlier, there was the lit staircase that was leaving the Lido Marketplace to head up one deck to two other dining venues. The first of those venues is where we are now, which is the onboard speciality Italian restaurant. You should expect to pay extra for your meals in here, but my top tip is that on a port day, you can get lunch in this venue and the one next door, totally free of charge. It's a heavily reduced menu, but it's worth it to come up and just try and see what it's like to eat up here. The other venue is GG Asian Kitchen, which is directly across the corridor, and this is the onboard Asian fusion restaurant. I found the food in here to be particularly tasty, but I know, I've already said, I'm not going to talk to you about the food because this video is all about showing you the ship. So come back and check out my dining guide in due course if you'd like to know more. Now heading up one more deck, we're up on deck number 12 now, and let's look at the jogging track. This track goes all the way around the back section of the ship and is great for trying to burn off some of those cruise calories while you're on board. Up here you'll also find two outdoor fitness gyms that have got all this equipment which essentially works on your body weight. It's really nice. The only small tip I would give is that if these are in the sun, that metal gets pretty hot, so just be careful up there. Heading from the back towards the front, the next thing to look at is the sports court. This is not bookable, so it's available to all guests at all times. You just have to go up and hope it's free. Now, let's talk about Sport Square. This part of the ship blew my mind. I have never been so overwhelmed with a cruise ship top deck than what I was on here. It is amazing. You can play mini golf, you can play pool, you can play life-size chess, you can play tic-tac-toe, you name it. It's probably available up here. It is amazing. There's also this high ropes course, but I'll show you more on that when we go up there. Now also on deck 12, you're going to find the Clubhouse. Some days when you're on your cruise, you may find it's too hot to play the games outside, or you might just want to relax and play in the air conditioning. The Clubhouse allows you to do that with an array of games aimed at all ages in here. So don't worry, if you're not cruising with children, you're more than welcome to come and play in these areas here. Deck 12 is also the top deck on the main pool area. You'll find that at night, it's lovely and quiet up here. It's so nice to go for a walk, and it's also perfect for watching those carnival deck parties. I've never seen a top deck quite like Carnival at night, but I'm not going to tell you anymore. Now, heading towards the front of the ship, remaining on deck 12, let's talk about Carnival Waterworks. This is the onboard water park, and it's potentially one of the best, most inclusive water parks I've ever seen on a cruise ship. Look at how much is going on here. You've got two slides that are aimed at much older passengers. So you've got the blue slide, which is an independent slide. The red slide is one that you take a rubber ring down, and then you've got all of the children's water park area to the right. Let me take you up here. You queue on the left for the red slide, queue on the right for the blue slide, and when you get up to the top, look at the view. This was taken while we were docked in port, so you can see the real benefit to heading up here with your camera. You can see there are two height restrictions, so you need to be 42 or 48 inches for the blue and red respectively. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. I had so much fun on these slides as an adult cruising with no children. Now, while we're outside, there's a few other parts of Deck 12 to show you, but I just want to stick to the outdoors right now. First up, let's talk about the high ropes course, and also let's talk about the Skyride. Both of these things are absolutely great. The high ropes course essentially puts you 14 floors above the ocean surface, working your way around an assault course. It is so fun. And the Skyride, look at this. You're strapped into these little cars, and then you pedal off the side of the cruise ship. My tip for this is make sure you go at a time where the queue isn't too large, because sometimes you can queue for up to an hour to get on these. It's so fun. I'm not sure if I would queue for a whole hour though, and you have to be 52 inches high to ride. That's really important. Make sure you measure before you get to the front. Back down on deck number 12, let's talk about the Cloud 9 Spa. Carnival Panorama is not all busy, busy, busy. It's very easy to find much quieter spaces, and I find the best way to do that is just to be careful with your time. Obviously, if you come to the gym, for example, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a sea day, it's going to be busy. However, this was at 7 AM just when it opened, and you can see here, you have got all of the equipment entirely at your disposal. I didn't get exclusive access to any of these areas to film, so it just goes to show, if you're up nice and early, you can maximise on your time and on the facilities without them being too busy. Now, the gym facilities, they are great, but if you would rather chill out, then you're probably going to be more interested in my next couple of venues. Up first is the Relaxation Lounge that you'll find directly beside the gym, and that helps you chill out with some nice herbal tea and some chilled water before heading through to the thermal suite. This thermal suite was gorgeous. You could either book a pass that would give you access for the whole cruise, or you could book a pass that would give you access for just 1 day. In here you've got the large gold tiled heated loungers, and you've also got this sunken tub in the middle of the room. This thermal suite was never busy when I went in. Really, really big thumbs up from me. And you've got quite a wide array of different types of sauna, different types of steam room, and different types of aromatherapy room. I found it totally worth the money to come in here, even just for an hour or two before dinner. And of course, you get the luxury of chilled towels. I absolutely love that in a cruise ship spa. So let me give you one final look round, and then the next venue we're going to look at is all the way up on deck number 15. Welcome to Serenity, which is the adult-only retreat at the very front of the ship. This venue to me really is a hidden gem. It was never ever busy up here. It was so peaceful, and it was the best place on the ship to watch the sunset in my opinion. The reason for that is you had significantly comfier loungers than what you found elsewhere on the ship, so you can see they're all pretty padded, and you also had a really wide array of seating options. You could go for a daybed, you could go for a lounger, or you could go for a table and chairs. It's such a lovely place to just chill out away from the buzz of the rest of the ship. Now up here you also have a light snack bar that is open during the day, and look at these hot tubs. Are they not just absolutely amazing? Sitting up here watching the sun go down with a drink in hand, honestly you have to experience it. It's just great. Now the other benefit to Serenity is that it is right at the very front of the ship, which means it's one of the few places on board where you can get that view over the bow looking off into the horizon. So make sure if you are going up here, bring your camera to get some pretty beautiful shots as you cruise. And that's it. That is a full ship tour of Carnival Panorama, the beautiful Vista class cruise ship from Carnival Cruise Line. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, it would be amazing if you would think about giving it a thumbs up down below. And while you're there, why not click subscribe and let me show you so many more of my cruise ships. Wherever you are in the world, thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video.